This is the new standard comp versus a Stormbringer comp, alright? So we have 35%, 35%. So 35 amplified buff and 35% cooldown on our Marshmallow Bunny right now. That does seem to be the best build. If you cannot get up to that, then 35% cooldown with at least 25% amplified buff would probably be your best bet. Alright, and then we are using cooldown. This is going to be a mixture of peanut and almond, and then we have a bunch of peanut on our holly berry here for the HP and some damage resist bypass. So I used to use chocolate for holly berry as well, and I think that it just really depends. Like, that build depends whether your holly berry can survive and you want to try and ramp up as much damage as possible for holly berry, or do you want to try and just use holly berry to survive as much as possible in the arena. And this particular case for me right now, this peanut build is most likely just to survive a little bit longer, and then with the damage resist bypass from the biscuit, you have a little bit more damage output as well, right? So you're not just sitting there and just taking damage. And it does look like for this one here, we are going to be able to win against that Mystic Flower. And I am going to be honest, with all the effects, I have no idea what the heck is going on anymore. But here is the new quote-unquote standard comp for the arena with Marshmallow Bunny right now. If you guys are wondering about Stormbringer, I'm going to be honest, right now, at day, like, you know, not even like one being done for the update, it does look like Stormbringer's Crystal Gem is going to be good, but with the catch, which means that you have to try and get it up to 30 for all of the buffs and all of the damage increase. Okay, but Marshmallow Bunny is OP. Alright, that's guaranteed. So here is the topping that I'm currently using. There are different ones. I have seen and used different ones too. But right now, at least with this video, we're using a full-on peanut, focusing on some damage resist and about 10% cooldown with damage resist bypass. Alright, and then I have one cooldown here. What I was using before this went 6%, was an extra cooldown topping on it. Alright, if your cookie is dying, if your hollyberry is dying, then just go with something like this: damage resist, and some extra HP. Okay, but as of right now, that is what I'm using with the damage resist bypass and the full-on peanut. We have full swift chocolate with full damage resist bypass for our eternal sugar, just like before. And then we have damage resist and some cooldown around 35% is preferred. Okay, and then we have our shadow milk with full swift chocolate. Again, same thing here as before, with full damage resist bypass. Of course, these damage resist bypasses can be a little higher too, but this is what I'm working with. And then we have about 35% again for the cooldown with some extra damage resist. And then we have our pure vanilla. So pure vanilla for me right now is using 4 of the solid almond with 2 of the peanut. All right, and then we have damage resist, cooldown. Around 15 to 17% cooldown. I think it's going to be a good place if you guys are able to get it. All right, of course, you want pure vanilla to be able to survive. All right, so having that damage resist is going to be very, very important. You could get up to 90%. All right. And then last one is going to be our Marshmallow Bunny. Of course, a little bit more testing might be needed, but you know that Marshmallow Bunny is going to be safeguarded, so technically you don't need any damage resist. This is just because there's a 2% cooldown one with damage resist. But I have focusing on amplified buff, which is, you know, it's not ordinary, right? This is pretty rare for a cookie to be good with amplified buff, in my opinion. Probably the only one right now inside of the game. And then we went with cooldown. And then our biscuit is amplified buff, cooldown. And that's a total of 35% cooldown with 35% plus amplified buff. All right, but if you guys can't get both of them, the thing that I would say is at least 35% cooldown, but at least 25% amplified buff. You have to have minimum of 25%. If you don't, then you're gonna lose out on a buff, and you don't want that. But again, this is still work in progress, testing in progress. I'm testing it out. Coconut is testing it out. And, other people are testing it out as well. So just keep that in mind. And then the treasures, of course, are going to vary as well. It seems like we have the whistle, which is most standard. You can go with monocle. I've seen monocles before. I have seen necklaces before. But it does look like if Stormbringers are going to be coming back, necklace will be the one that most likely get replaced. A little bit more for like monocle or anything other than that. Sometimes scroll being used as well, but that is kind of like our standard comp right now that we have going on. All right, so let's go against this one. We have a vial, which is interesting. Let's go. So if you can get attack speed on Marshmallow Bunny, it might help out in just keeping that, skill a little bit faster. But I don't know if it's going to make a significant difference because you're not like increasing it by like, a really, really, really like big amount. All right. So probably just going with a simple amplify and cooldown focus is going to be your best bet. All right. As of right now. And looks like we are going to be good here. All right. Only Shadow Milk left and we still have 3 strong cookies. Actually, no, 2 strong cookies. You can't even kill our bunny. All right, so there you guys go. And 31 million coming out from our Eternal, 20 from our Shadow Milk, and look at that healing. And just by the way, guys, my bunny. Oh, by the way, my bunny is literally 1-star promo. So, against a 5-star Ascended Cream Ferret, that's a good number, man. Alright, so this one is the Rockstar one. Let's just go up against it with the whistle and just see how it goes. Alright, so that's the Rockstar Fire Spirit comp that was going around for a good amount of time. Alright, before the arena resets. And I gotta say, our extra damage resist, alright, for the Pure Vanilla from Marshmallow Bunny, as well as that extra amplify, the extra, buffs coming out. And the healing just allows Pure Vanilla to survive even longer. And it looks like this is going to be a pretty clean victory. And this comp was really, really strong too. That Rockstar Fire Spirit comp was really, really strong. Alright, so there you guys go. Good amount of damage. So much healing coming out from that Marshmallow Bunny. And it only goes up from there, right? Again, if you can get it up to like that 5-star Ascension eventually, so much more healing is going to happen. All right, here we go. Let's see how it goes. So it does look like our Pure Vanilla survives that. Technically the first skill rotation wise right there, thanks to the necklace coming out. All right, but still, you take a lot of damage. But our other cookies are surviving so far with that extra damage resist, some extra amplified buff, and bam, that is gonna be good right there. Okay, good stuff, good stuff. And that is gonna be a victory. So there you guys go, our Eternal Sugar doing a ton of damage. All right, and some extra healing right there. Okay. Why don't I promote my cookies? The reason why I don't promote my cookies is if I was to do a video like this, right, what I'm doing right now, and you were able to see that my cookies were surviving with like everything like, maxed out or very close to maxed out, then it's not really gonna be too realistic for you, to follow and see an exact same result. Of course, still, my Pure Vanilla and Hollyberry are max ascended, so I can't really do anything about that. I can't reverse that back from what I've done, several years, like 2 years ago. But at least like with Eternal and Shadow Milk and Marshmallow Bunny and the Awakening stats, it's gonna be at least a little bit more tangible to a lot more players, right? So that's why I don't promote my cookies anymore. But I gotta say, this is probably gonna be the new standard comp, and most likely the treasure of that middle slot right here is gonna be interchangeable with different ones. Whistle, necklace, monocle, scroll. Just really depends on what you're versing. But this is the standard comp. So Cream Ferret has been replaced now. Finally. Alright, finally Cream Fairy is replaced. But if you still use Mystic Flower still needs Cream Ferret to survive. Okay, so there is that. But as of right now, this is going to be the new standard with our Marshmallow Bunny. And again, that Stormbringer right here, okay, not the lemon. Stormbringer, it does look like, even with plus 10, you know, it's going to be a little bit tough. You want at least 15 and some Ascension. And also, if you really want to use her, that plus 30 is most likely going to be something you need. Alright, to try and get her to be useful inside of the arena, at least to see a significant difference. So that is pretty much what we have right now. Alright, so that's the new standard comp. So try it out if you guys have the Marshmallow Bunny, or if you didn't get her, then good luck. And I wish you the best of luck in getting her.